Hello, everyone. Welcome to Creativity-Hive's weekly show. My name is Miriam Haugen. I'm part of the Creativity-Hive team. We help budding videographers achieve massive post-production skills through one-on-one teaching and live group coaching. And our weekly hangout brings you people usually working in the video industry from across the globe. Today's a little bit different. We have Silvia Naylor, and she is not specifically a videographer, but I'm going to bring her on and we'll find out a little bit more about her. Hello, Silvia.
Hi, how you doing?
Great.
Thanks for having me.
So, okay, I know your job title, right, is Adobe is a community manager for Adobe, and just what does that involve?
Right, so I am the community program manager at Adobe, and my main program is actually the ACPs. So, as you know, Nita and Mo are both ACPs. ACP stands for Adobe Community Professional, and their main like the main focus is basically our Adobe support community. So where people go in and ask their questions, whether it's they have an issue with one of the tools or they want to get some inspiration for their creativity. And they just go in there and ask their questions. And then our ACPs are basically the super users of this community, and they help everybody else on our customers, and they also collaborate with us, the employees. And yeah, my basic job is just basically to have them in and make sure that they're active, recruit new members. We have also some very fun activities happening every couple of weeks. So we have webinars as well going on Tuesdays called Tech Tuesday. So I run all these activities as well. And of course, we just finished Max like a few weeks ago, and we had lots of events around Max as well. It's all about collaborating with the product teams, getting that feedback, that access to pre-release information. So yeah, that's basically in a nutshell what my role is at Adobe at the minute.
Right. So how did you get to where you're at? How did you become this community manager?
So that depends how far ago do you want to go? Because
I want to go all the way back.
All the way back. Okay. I was born at. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no.
So I am originally from Barcelona, and that's in Catalonia. It's in basically south of France.
So don't say that you're from Spain.
Yeah, no. Well, like, I won't take offense, but I do identify myself as Catalan, and just out of like I'm actually I have family in England, so like that's why my surname as well doesn't look much like a Catalan surname.
Okay, what is your what nationality did you say your surname is?
It's English. It's
okay,
from England.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm half and half. I know I don't have an accent. They didn't teach me to speak English, so it's I got it after when I moved to Ireland. So I'm from Barcelona, and basically when I was out of school and I was like, right, what am I going to do with my life? The first thing that I actually wanted to do was piercing. I wanted to pierce people, and because why not? I had lots of piercings and I wanted to do it, and I still have a few of them. 22, I think. So I was like, I'll just do that. And of course, my parents didn't like it, and they were like, no, you have to, do this and do that. And eventually, there was some situation in my house where there was some trauma involved, something that I'm not going to go into. But I was basically kind of almost forced to work full time, and the only job that I found that basically would hire somebody fresh out of school was like customer support. So that's what I started doing, because I felt that I could be good at it. I could be good at learning things and try to help people with whatever it is that they're trying to do. And I basically worked in customer service for like a few years, and eventually I went to this company called King. I'm pretty sure you will know them. They're the creators of Candy Crush Saga, the game on the phone. And I was working with them for like 6 months when they offered me to basically help them create a social media support channels for the company, and because they never done something like that. And I was like, okay.
How old were you? How old were you in that?
I must have been 22, I think.
Okay.
22, yeah, 20,
Wow.
21, 22, something like that. Yeah.
That's a lot of responsibility for a 22-year-old.
I know. Like they basically picked myself and two other people, and they just got like the top performers of like the customer support, and they just said, do you guys have experience in social media? And I was like, some of it, sure. But they basically went and brought us to like a training session for like about a week, where we learned like about how social media support is different than your regular support, and all that kind of stuff that you can do in social media that you can't do in regular support. Like you can be like fun, and you can be playful, and you can have like basically you're representing the brand of the company live. So you have to be more careful as well with what you say. Have that extra, always go the extra mile for the person. because it's not only like you're presenting the company and everybody's reading it as well. You know what I mean? So that really interested me and put me basically the social media thing in my head. And I was like, oh, I really like this. And I started working with some teams there with social media, creating some content as well with them, and basically also doing some levels for some games. I really like video games as well. And I eventually was like, I missed something in my life. I don't know what that is. That was Irish dancing, which is one of my passions. And I decided to move to Ireland. And I was like, right, I know it's very drastic. I was like, you know what? Let me just drop everything and anything, and I'm just gonna go to Ireland. And I was like, look, if the universe wants me to do this, it'll send me a sign, right? So I applied for jobs in LinkedIn, and I was like, I'm gonna give myself a week. If within a week I don't have anything, I might just drop it and just basically accept this is my life. I might be too old to do this now. I don't know. I was like 25, I think, at the time. And fair enough, I applied for a job and I got a phone call for like within 2 hours. And I actually got that job. And that job was YouTube social media specialist for YouTube at Google. And that was a contract job. And the job was here in Ireland. And I was really, really excited because they were basically going to create from scratch the whole social media support, which is amazing because like I had done that before in another company. So we had the opportunity to do this and develop it, and also develop it in Spanish. That's why they hired me. So I moved here, and I basically was going to stay here for 6 months. That's what I told everybody. That was a lie. I ended up staying here. I've been here for over 5 years. I'm not going anywhere. Don't tell them now. But yeah, and then like I basically started going from that was a contract. I love working there. The people were amazing. I also got some community experience. I was working as well with the super users there. They called it top contributors at the time. I think they call them product experts now. I think they had got a rebrand. But yeah, like I really enjoyed that mix of community forums and social media support, and like basically creating, the whole like brand and like structure, how to interact with people and what to prioritize and how to prioritize it. And it was more in depth. And after that, I basically went through other companies. So I also was working for about a year and a half in Microsoft, being the global communications manager. That was also almost kind of like social media, but also had a bit of LSI communications that they called. That was basically when something breaks and you have to go into a call with all the engineers and you have to draft those communications to people on the office and people outside the office. Basically tell them, hey, this thing broke. This note thing went down and this is what they're doing to fix it. This is the APA that they have to fix it. So it was a bit of a mix. Then I went to LinkedIn when I stayed there for almost 2 years. And that's probably the video that you've seen me dancing in. I was dancing there in the talent show. And I was doing the same thing there. I was doing social media support, but I just kept missing the community aspect of things. And then I got a message on LinkedIn from a recruiter in Adobe and was saying, hey, I think you'd be a good fit for this. Do you want to give it a go? And I was like, okay, what is this? It was the community Creative Cloud community manager for the EMEA region. So the whole idea and the way it was presented to me, it was to basically build out the Adobe support community in different languages. That was what they wanted to do at the time. That was my main goal, basically, when I joined. And then I joined, this was November 2019. We all know what happened closely after that. So basically what happened is that COVID hit and everything just went out the window.
Right.
Yeah, and then like I was working closely with Trisha, and Trisha is the previous community program manager that she was taking care of the ACPs. I know Neil knows her as well. And I was working closely with her, and then eventually she decided to leave the company. And because they couldn't hire anybody, and they said, well, you've already been talking to her, maybe she can train you a little bit and you can basically do both jobs for a while until we figured out what's happening. And I was like, okay.
Right.
And yeah, I basically stayed like 8 months doing 2 jobs, and between myself and like my manager as well, and my counterpart in Japan, Natsuko as well. It was hectic, but I really liked the whole that transition. And eventually they asked me, did you actually enjoy like taking care of the program of the ACPs? And because we got real feedback, and I was like, yeah, I really liked it. And they gave me the role officially this past February. I think it was, January, February this year. So then from then on, I was the official community manager for the community program manager for the ACPs. And that's basically
you've really only been officially the manager for that program since February, you said? That's not very long. Okay.
I know. I've been with the company like again November 2019, so I haven't been in Adobe for that long. It's just about 2 years. Everybody else has been here. They get like awards for like 5 year, 10 year, 15 year, 20 years, and I'm here like,
and you're going,
oh god,
months, 9 months.
It's like
No.
I'm still a baby compared to everybody else. But no,
Right.
it's a
Right.
great place to work, and I really enjoy my job, and I'm hoping to stay here for the long run. So
Well, it does speak well for a company. I think that people want to stick around and do stick around for a long time. So,
definitely.
that it must be that maybe they really are one of the best places to work. They have this this reputation, supposedly.
I
They've
think
won
we won
awards.
that in Ireland. I think this year we did. We won the number one best place to work in Ireland this year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. How do you have any idea how many employees, Adobe employees, are in Ireland?
I think so. The award goes into different categories, and we got into the medium category. So it's not that big actually. See how, for example, like I haven't even been to America yet because, like in theory, when I joined, Max just finished, and in theory I
Yeah.
was going to go to Max 2020, and again that didn't happen. We went into
Right.
virtual. So I am yet to go to the States and see the offices there. For what I've seen images and I've seen people talking about them, it's very different here. We have a quite a small office. We don't even like have the whole building. We have like a couple of floors here and there. And like it's not a lot of people, I have to say, but it's very centralized. We have like lots of offices as well in Europe. Like there's one in Edinburgh where we collaborate a lot with them as well with social support. So like yeah, it's not as big as you would think.
Mm-hmm. You need to show off your Max t-shirt you're wearing.
Oh yeah, hang on. Let me take off my Adobe blanket first.
Oh, Adobe blanket. Oh.
Yeah. So this is the Max t-shirt. Hang on. Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
nice. Nice.
Super cool design.
Yes. And with your, let's see, did you say it on the, you also were into piercings, you said. So that kind of, that design, there were a number of, for those of you who don't know, there were a number of t-shirt designs you could choose from. And that one features a piercing. But Neil and I didn't think about wearing our Max t-shirts today. That would have been fun.
Sorry, I didn't tell you, so I didn't plan it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna put it on.
Right. That is great. That is great. Yeah, it'll be fun when we can actually do these things in person again.
Totally.
So, how did you get into Irish dancing?
Okay. So funny enough, because I said that like I have family in England, so my grandfather like used to love this show called Lord of the Dance, which is an Irish dancing show from like in 1996, I believe it is. And
yeah, we watched that on television and everything, and we're just absolutely amazed.
Dancing with the Stars? Okay.
No, the Irish Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Dance. Michael Flatley and all.
Well, yes, yeah, right. Yes. Okay, Riverdance. Yes, okay.
Yeah, so that one. And one day we went with school, and I must have been, I think, 16 years old. We went with school to see like some sort of like Celtic music concert, like educative, like this is surreal, this is Lipchick, this is a hornpipe. And everybody was like, oh, this is horrible. And I was like, this is the best thing ever. Oh my God. So I went home and I asked my parents, like, do we have anything like this at home that I could listen to? Because I really liked it. Like, I know we don't, but I have this. And there was the VHS of Lord of the Dance. I put it on and I immediately fell in love. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is crazy. I started looking, where could I learn this? Like, is there anything here? Sadly, there were no schools at the time, no official classes, no nothing. There was a group that did it for fun that almost didn't take me on, but I convinced them to take me on. And I got dancing with them for a couple of years. And I eventually was like, you know what, I want more from this. I want to like learn to dance. I want to go into competitions. I want to like myself when I was little, I was like, I want to be a professional dancer. And now, of course, I know that I was already too old to start with. You know what I mean? I know that things can happen, that you can train really hard and stuff, but my situation just didn't allow me to actually like train. So I was going to summer camps, basically dancing summer camps with some of my friends from my dancing group. And I eventually met this teacher, and he's an Irish person, and I was living in Germany. And I said, can I join your school? I was like, I obviously don't live in Germany, but like, is there something we could do? And basically what I used to do is I used to take a flight on a Monday, learn my dances for the weekend, and then fly over wherever I had to fly over for the competition on the weekend, and then go back to Barcelona, and then go back to school, of course. So I could only do this when I was at school, because of course they wouldn't care if I was just like gone for like, you know, every couple of months just gone for a week or so. And my very first competition, I basically won completely everything that I danced. And I was like, gobsmacked. I was like, wait, hang on, what's happening? Like there's like different levels when you start, like this beginner, primary, intermediate, and open championship, which is the top. And I started like in primary, so it's like the second level. And I straight up moved like to almost to the last level because I won everything else that I was dancing on. And I did not expect that. I was thinking, well, I'm just gonna go here, have fun, bum it, and go home. That was my expectation.
Right.
And I won everything. And since then, I really liked it, and I just did it all the time. And then, of course, I had to, as I said, I had to basically leave my house when I was 18, 19. So I was kind of like, I had to find a job, I had to pay rent, I had to find somewhere to live. So I could not do that anymore because, of course, they wouldn't give you that many holidays in work. So I had to basically stop dancing, and I was just doing it for fun with the people that I knew in Barcelona. And eventually, when I moved here, they did open a school. So right now there is a school in Barcelona, and I'm really close with my friends there. And sometimes they come over here in Ireland to compete, and like I dance with them and against them as well. And it's a lot. It's really, really fun. But of course, like they're an amazing school. They call Irish Celtas. And here I'm dancing in a school called Celtic Academy, very fitting. And I've been in this school for 2 years. I've been moving to different schools as I've been moving through the country. Now I live in Wicklow, which is like in the mountains, in the middle of nowhere. So now I have a class that's like closer to me as well. And the teacher is amazing. And yeah, I'm just like, I want to go back to competitions, and I'm just taking it easy. And because, we haven't been dancing for 2 years because nothing has been happening. Everything has been.
I mean, yeah. Do they really want you all in a room doing heavy breathing? Yeah, that is a tough thing. But okay, so this, I just have to ask, this is my US based question. How many languages do you speak?
Okay, I speak Catalan and Spanish fluently because in Catalonia they basically teach you both of them at the same time and like equally. So I'm fluent in both. I of course can speak English, and my plan was to move to Germany, and I did that, but it didn't last long. I learned German for 2 years. I have forgotten most of it, but when I go to Germany, I can order the food and I get the right stuff. So something must be still there. And
so I not fluent in German, but you can kind of muddle along.
Yeah, and if I read something, I can understand sometimes. It's more the vocabulary than it is the grammar. But like I have the base there, I think. It's like, can I get a burger without this and that? And I get it. And it's like, oh yeah, great. I didn't get the onions, great. I also started like learning just for fun Italian and Portuguese, but I haven't really taken that on. So officially fluently 3. The rest.
Right. You see, in the US, we are, I looked it up. 20% of the population is bilingual. 80% just knows one language. And so we're very impressed. We just think it's awesome that you can speak all these different languages. Of course, you kind of have to. But
yeah, because they're so close together over there.
Okay, I really want to.
Jeg snakker så lidt norsk. Yeah, and I also snakker or sprech ein bisschen Deutsch. Ein bisschen. I used to do pretty good in it after I got out of high school, but I've kind of lost it. And then after working on Norwegian, because we have family there, we took a trip to Norway in the mid '80s, and so I was working on picking up some Norwegian because some of the old members of the family don't speak much in English, and found that Norwegian, English, and German are kind of like a triangle as far as they each have about as much in common with the other two as they have with the other one, kind of thing. And it makes it very complicated on the brain to try and keep Norwegian and German and English separate. And so I figured I had to just basically mostly let the German go in order to get the Norwegian to actually stick. But I haven't. I had 2 trips to Norway, and I haven't been back in a number of years, and so I haven't been pushing it. And it's frustrating because there for a while I could get on a bus or a train and just sit there and talk with people. And wow, I really would have trouble with that now.
But again, maybe you just have to go there and see what happens, because that's what happened to me. Like I hadn't gone to Germany in years, and then one day I went there for a concert, and I would just go to Starbucks to like get like a tea or something, and I ordered in German, and I said which kind of milk I wanted and everything, and I was surprised at myself. I was like, how do I even remember all this stuff? Like sometimes it's just deep in your brain. You just have to kind of like get into it and be like, oh, you have to speak because they won't understand you. You know what I mean? Especially depending on where you go and they don't speak English, and you're like, oh dear. So maybe we just have to drop you in Norway, and then you're going to be fluent within a week.
I had a situation in Norway during our trip there, and this is back when you still had traveler's checks. And I went to a bank to cash
you're
some traveler's
really breaking
checks.
up, Neil.
Well, yeah, everything's breaking up here on my set.
Oh, we must be having some issues with our internet connection, maybe. Darn it.
Oh.
Will, go ahead. Try. Are you, no, you're frozen. Ooh, dear.
I can see him.
Are you, but he's moving now. Good.
Okay. Yeah, we're having
Yay.
some issues here. But so I went into this bank to cash a traveler's check, and the two people in front of me were speaking in English. And so I figured, there's no reason to go ahead and in Norwegian. This gal's already talking with the English with these people, right? So I step up and she says, okay, name. And I said, Haugen. And she goes, so how do you spell that? And I just kind of looked at her, kind of surprised that she was asking me how to spell Haugen in Norway, and just said, yeah, Haugen. And she just turned completely red and went, oh. Right.
Haugen is a really, really common name in Norway. It's like Smith in the United States, super, super common. So
I can relate to that because when I go, because I'm obviously, you can see I'm very pale. So when people like learn that I'm from Barcelona, they're like, oh, are you? You don't look like you're from there, because they think everybody's tanned and has like dark hair and dark eyes and stuff.
Right.
And, like even when I go there with my fiance, I just like to see my friends and stuff. And like, of course, I talk English to him because he's Irish. But then like people in the street or whatever, like they want to ask you for directions, or even in the restaurants, they just go and talk to you in English. And then I reply in Catalan and they go,
you're right.
So it's very fun because they're like, wait a minute. But like it even happened to me before even I moved, because like I'm like very, very pale. So they always think that I'm not from there. Then I look like I'm from somewhere else. And especially when you get used to the weather and then you go back and then you're dying, like there's like 35 degrees and you're like, I want to die. It's horrible. I can't stand it anymore. And everybody is there like, I'm fine. And you're like, oh no. And then you go in the winter and then you're in shorts and everybody has like scarves on. You're like, oh no, I'm one of them now.
Right.
We have a very good friend whose mother's side of her family is from originally from a small village on the Lebanon-Syrian border, and she is paler than I am, if anything, and black hair and blue eyes. But if you actually know a little bit about some of the people from that area, especially you look at her facial features and all, and you can look at her and go, well, yeah, she looks definitely Lebanese background, you'd think. And it's really kind of interesting because so many people just because of the pale skin, they don't see it. But when we're around Lebanese people, Lebanese immigrants look at her and frequently will start talking in Arabic, because they'll just see her face and go, oh, there's someone that must know Arabic also. And she's going, well, she has a few words, but not much. But
it's
yeah,
always
she's also
like
pale.
Funny, or like sometimes they feel ashamed as well, and you feel bad. It's like, no, I just, I didn't mean to make you feel bad. It is funny to me, at least.
It was stunning to watch you dance. I mean, wow, you're good at that.
Yeah, I was hoping we might even get a video, but I just posted the link. People just have to go to YouTube themselves and and check it out. It's fun. So you also are really into mental health advocacy, I understand. So you want to tell us about that? How did that come about?
Yeah. Okay. So, do you remember how I said that I had to leave my house because there was some trauma involved? So I basically carried that with me for many years. I come from a dysfunctional family. And then eventually, like I tried to commit suicide a few times. The last time it was in 2018. So over 3 years ago now. And this time I was already living in Ireland. and something clicked in my head, and I just like over a period of time I just got tired of feeling the way I was feeling, like so depressed all the time and with stress, anxiety, and like carrying basically all this almost PTSD in my head from everything that I had gone through, and when I was in my home and stuff, like. And then like it's just I started like to crumble, like I felt alone, and I ended up in the hospital. And then when I was there, they basically referred me to therapy, and I did that. And again, when you're in that situation, you don't really want to admit that you need help, and but something inside me said no, I actually need help, I want to get better. So I did therapy, and it really helped me to get those tools to fight that. And basically I got to the point where like I know that this is my life. I know that I have to live with depression probably most of my life. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a thing where some days it's going to get better, some days it won't be as good. But then, like I found that when I actually got a bit better, and I posted on my Instagram a post saying that like this is a picture of me before and after. But basically, you can't tell a difference, right? Like I'm smiling in both. But this is what I went through, and know that like I felt very alone. If you have nowhere to talk to, I'm here to talk to you. I don't care if we don't know each other. That's I'm here
So,
to listen to you, basically.
yeah, so often the public face that people put out there, it's not obvious. It's not obvious to people.
We
No.
had a good friend that we knew was struggling terribly, and we would talk with other good mutual friends and say, he really needs, I mean, you need to be over there every day saying hi, and they'd be going, he seems fine to me.
He seems fine.
I don't see what the problem is. And then he committed suicide, which of course broke us up rather terribly. And they were so shocked. Well, I hadn't seen anything. Well,
yeah.
If you paid attention, you could see where the facade was and where reality was. And most people don't look past the facade. You have to be able to just sit back and look at people, not just at what they seem like.
Well,
but
and
what they actually
honestly,
do. When they stop talking, they sit there for a little bit. What happens to their face? Do they work to get back into a conversation? Things like that. People go, well, I didn't see it. And I'm sitting there going, I thought it was pretty obvious.
We never, even though we recognized that he was struggling, we didn't recognize that suicide was ever,
we didn't know it was that bad. We knew
considered.
we knew it was bad. We didn't know it was that bad. And
there is a lot of stigma and a lot of cliches when it comes to suicide, right? Like, for example, when you say, no, we could have seen some signs. Sometimes you don't see signs. Like I find the people that are struggling the most are the ones that are smiling the most as well, because they got so good at hiding their emotions that it's so hard unless they actually openly say, hey, I need help. I need a hand, or can we talk, or you know what I mean? And of course, not everybody is open to the idea. And that was something as well, like after, I think when I got better, like I think 2 years ago now, so a year after it happened, I got a certificate on mental health first aid. So basically how to, different mental health issues, how to react to them and how to help them, how to support them, how to guide them to different resources. And because I felt like I didn't want anybody else to feel the way that I did, because I feel very alone and I couldn't ask for help. And like, again, like I also knew a person that was actually in my dancing class, and he committed suicide and he was a world champion. And like,
you're going, here's a super successful person.
Yeah, like why? Yeah, and it's like, well, things are never like that. There's always like everybody has their own battles. You never know what's happening in somebody's head, and like it's
well, and there is chemistry that happens, I think, where people aren't, they're just not thinking clearly. They think nobody's going to care. Yep. No, it's not going to hurt. The world will be better off. I mean, their mind just plays tricks.
And I've been there myself with that. I had horrible depression for several years in the late 90s. And of course, it's one of those things that now I look back and go, wow, the things that I was so focused on that I found so terrible, I look back and go, wow, talk about blown out of proportion. They were such small things. And that was when our kids were young. and we had this incredible house that was everything that Miriam and I could have ever wanted for the kids at home and their activities, and our studio business was going well. And I look back at that now and go, oh my God, I was so worried about things that did not matter at all, and I was totally missing how wonderful my life was at the time. And so yeah, I also really want to help people avoid that, because man, that was a waste of horrible emotions. Um, but then of course also, one of the things that I was struggling with was the fact that I had just really bizarre things happening constantly in trying to relate with other people. And that was something we found out a few years later, when within a few months, our kids are spread out over a little bit of age differences. And we had one that was basically getting out of college and was considering going into Lutheran seminary to become a Lutheran pastor, and going through psychological evaluations. And we also had about a 4 or 5-year-old, and who was acting a little differently. And he was diagnosed autistic at about the same time she was diagnosed as high functioning Asperger's. And when people want to know, well, what's the difference? Autistic means you have more visible signs. The brain situation is virtually identical. You just, and then of course, I did what I thought anybody would do, and I, read like 10 books and 5,000 pages on the web in the next 2 weeks, kind of thing, right? And one of the big things I found was that, one of the biggest predictors of autism is genetics. And looking at things and reading a couple books, it was just this whole of, that's why all these interactions with people go bizarre, because my brain sees things so differently. And that itself kind of practically launched me into depression, because at first you figure out, so I can learn to be more normal. And then after a while you realize that no, that would be like a blind person learning to see. No, can't happen.
You can't just learn. You can learn different behaviors, though. I mean, you can learn and often people on the spectrum will just learn the rules for social interaction. And that's what governs their life. They're not picking up on the subtle signals.
And
they're just,
you have to figure that there's going to be a lot of things that are going to blow up on you, because you can't, and that's very frustrating, because at times you can watch, you're in the middle of a conversation and all of a sudden it starts going south, and you realize not a dang thing you can do about it, because even if you try to explain to the other person what's going on, they'll tell you you're nuts. And that's a hard thing to accept, that there's going to be times when people are going to form horrible ideas about you that have no basis in reality, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. And
but that's going to happen anyway. Like whether you have something, you don't have anything. It's like you were saying that you want to be normal. Like I struggle with that as well. I was like, why don't I, even in school, like, why don't I have so many friends? Why does nobody want to meet up with me? Why la la la? And then of course it's like, oh, well, you're projecting from all the stuff that you're going through in your house. And like at the end of the day, like being normal is such a thing that I don't think it's actually normal. I don't think there's a normal. I think so there's this idea of what should be normal, but then the reality is that you have to accept yourself the way that you are. And even myself, like I know that I have depression. I know that I could probably have this all my life. That's fine. I just need to then work on how to react to it, like make it not affect me as much, make it not let me go to where I was 3 years ago when I ended up in the hospital. Basically have a support people, or resources, or whatever ways that basically you train yourself to basically get better. And same thing with autism and that kind of stuff. That doesn't mean you are not normal. That just means you have a different way of seeing life, seeing everything, learning things, and you just have to get those tools to basically make the most out of yourself. It's not any less or any better. It's just different. And everybody is like, oh, this is a bad thing. It's like, I disagree. It's just different. And why is different bad? There's always this thing of the people that are different are like, oh, that's not right. That's not right. And as somebody that has had colored hair for so many years, I've been, I've seen that from everywhere. It's like, oh, look at her, she's a weirdo. Like, so what? I have more fun than you do.
Well, I see guitars back there. So you do music too?
They're not mine. They're my fiance's. And
Oh,
yeah, that's
okay.
like
Your
both
fiance,
of them.
he's a musician. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a nice rack.
He has maybe as many as you do, Neil. More
More.
than
Because you
you
made
do.
me sell a couple of mine.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So Neil's really enjoying jazz guitar right now.
Yeah.
But so, and having a lot of fun with that. Well, this has been awesome. Do you any other parting shots or?
Well, first I have to say, when Silvia was brought in as clearly going to be the lead person running the Adobe Community Professionals, the ACP program, that was some heavy shoes to fill because Tricia Lawrence was frequently called mom, including by people that were older than she was. She was just this really gentle, always seemingly wise, and very knowledgeable person that just one of those people that seemed to know how to work with people she had never worked with. And many of the ACPs are perhaps in the neurodiverse crowd like me or other things. So we can be all over the spectrum, and we're all over the planet with different cultures and all. And Tricia was incredible at working with things, and so there were a lot of us that were pretty broken up when she announced that she was going to be essentially, I guess, retiring, you could say,
Me
or
too.
whatnot.
Yeah.
And
That's her.
but Silvia has just been wonderful as taking over. She's not Tricia, she's Silvia. And Sylvia is a wonderful thing and is just absolutely great to work with. Little assistance from Dave Cassendick, but yeah, Sylvia has just been glorious. But it's really a kick for me to see that dancing. Wow, you not only are great running the forums, you're an awesome dancer. And of course, like I said, we watched Michael Flatley and Riverdance and the Lord of the Dance programs and everything like crazy back when they were.
But I don't see people calling Sylvia mom. I just am not.
No, that's not happening.
Little different vibe.
She was like a mom. Tricia was great, and like the moment like she left, it was like, oh, you have big shoes to fill and like that kind of stuff, and it put a lot of pressure on me because I was like, oh god, it's like she's been so great. What am I gonna do? So I just basically worked it and like work hard day by day, try to basically help the ACPs in anything I could, or find who could help them in whatever they needed. And yeah, here we are now, a year after, managing the program, not thinking that I would be having this role officially. So that's not what I joined Adobe for. But yeah, it's worked out, and like I really enjoy working with this amazing group of people. And it's a great experience because what Neil was saying, there's lots of people from all over the globe, different ages, different cultures, and everybody's different. So people like even message me every now and then just to like ask and tell me how their life is going, and they tell me their stuff, and I tell them my stuff, and we have those relationships that almost like we're friends now. And others I never hear from ever. So it's like, you can be as involved as you want, and you can be, same thing, like talking as much as you want to me or anybody else in Adobe, or it is a great group of people. And like every time I just get surprised, and it's usually good surprises. So let's keep them coming.
Awesome. That is great. So yeah, welcome everybody thank you, Dave, for putting in the chat about that you're from Pittsburgh, because I always think it's fun to know where people are joining us from. So that is very cool.
Yeah, Mo is normally here from South Africa, but where he lives in Cape Town, but they're having what they call load shedding down there. Their power grid is having such massive problems that it shuts down for a couple hours, rolling around what parts of the country they shut down. And so
he did have a plan for how he was going to join us, but evidently it didn't work out. So we miss you, Mo. We will see you soon, I'm sure. All right. Go Steelers. Yeah. You cannot be in Pittsburgh and not be a Steelers fan. I do know that. But so I think that is time to wrap things up. Welcome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we have a bonus episode scheduled for tomorrow. It is 2 p.m. Pacific time. So, you have to do the translation to whatever time zone you're in.
And
But
Miriam, I'm going to kick
yeah,
in. We had a question from David in Pittsburgh that are we all with Adobe. Silvia is employed by Adobe. She runs the Adobe Community Professionals Program. That's those of us like me that are volunteers and help answer questions on all the various Adobe product forums. Mo Mula, our partner in Creativity-Hive, is also an ACP, and he works out mostly in After Effects. I'm primarily based in Premiere Pro, but of course, I've got people that are ACPs in Photoshop, Forums, Lightroom, Illustrator, InDesign, everything. So I'm not a staffer, but I am an Adobe community professional, and Miriam is just the other partner.
yes. Yeah, I'm just the other partner. So anyway, Lightroom and Photoshop primarily, and I know a little teeny bit about Premiere Pro, and Mo keeps trying to teach me more. So I'll be working on that. Oh, and Dave says he's trying to learn XD. Very cool.
Oh, yeah.
So Sylvia, you work with the ACPs do they cover all of the Adobe apps, or are there ACPs for all the apps, or just some of the bigger ones?
As far as I know, it started as a Creative Cloud program, but I have basically people from all over the place. There's also enterprise and teams, there's Captivate, there's e-learning, there's like the print publishing unit. There's like basically ACPs from every single like part of Adobe in terms of products. And some of them are like, I'm expert in one product, some of them are in 15. And you're like, how do you retain so much knowledge? Please tell me. But yeah, it's all over the spectrum. So that also makes me that I have to have lots of contacts within different product teams, different community management groups as well. I basically have to know lots of people.
Know a little bit about everything, right?
And like I wish I could like have the time to like actually learn properly like an Adobe tool. Like I have used Photoshop before. I started doing some stuff with Audition the other day, just teaching a few songs and things like that. But I wish I had the time to actually go in and do something. But of course, I don't have it with my work. And
right.
I don't know what
too busy with other things, right?
Yeah, it's just like I need more hours during the day to basically like answer the emails and like just go in and like host all these webinars and all these meetings. It takes a lot of the time, and I would love to learn more. But at the same time, because we have the Tech Tuesday series, I feel like I'm learning just by watching people present other things. It's like, I'm going to present to you, and then you explain what you are doing. And then I watch, and then I learn, and then I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm enjoying it anyway.
Right. I hear you too. Of course, then you get lulled into thinking that you know more than you do, and then you actually try to go do something in the program, and you go, wait a minute, why isn't this working?
Yes, this happened. This has happened. Like, nope, I'm gonna watch some tutorials now.
Right. So that's one of the reasons why we like to do actually live teaching with Creativity-Hive, where we actually teach people, where we can catch those problems and help them over well, you need to change this preference over here, or whatever, so they don't just get stuck wondering why it's not working.
My first experience with Adobe actually involved the marching ant syndrome. And
she probably doesn't know what the marching ant syndrome is.
And that is, this
old.
was back in the 90s. We got a flatbed scanner so that we could put photographs on it and scan them and use that rather, because to do copy and restoration work where someone would have an old photograph they wanted restored, I would photograph it with a 4x5 camera and make a negative and would make a print, do some artwork on the print, and then I'd photograph that print to make another negative that I would make the prints that we would give to them. And so we went to try out this whole idea of doing it digitally. And so we got this flatbed scanner and got Adobe Photoshop, and I scanned the print and brought it in with this big expensive cable that you had to do at the time into the computer, and brought it up in Photoshop. And of course, back then you bought it in a box, right? With about an 1.5 inch thick book and everything. And so I'm in the manual, and it said, okay, so you, to do what I wanted to do a levels change, you do this, do that. Well, I go to do the third step and nothing's happening. I can't, that third step will not work. It's grayed out. And I couldn't figure out what in the world was going on. Well, back then, of course, we didn't have the internet forums and everything that we have today. And so it was phone calls, except that this was landline era, right? This is
Landline.
long
my
distance.
gosh. You used a landline?
Yeah. So I spent probably $60 calling all over the freaking country trying to find someone that could tell me what the heck was going on. And finally, there was a woman up in Seattle that had just started learning to do Photoshop, to do retouching for photographers, that someone gave me a number for, and I called up with her, and she just says, oh, marching ant syndrome. Yeah, after you make your selection, you have to click inside the canvas, but outside the image itself. And then you can move on. And
oh God,
you have to get rid of the
marching ants, the little
lines
thing, the selection line. But you had to click inside the canvas, but outside the image in order to get rid of the marching ants after you made your selection. Before, why in the world did they have that step in there? I don't know, but they didn't include it in the book.
They
like,
must
why
have
was
had
it not
Control
in
D. Now you do Control D. Maybe that shortcut didn't exist yet.
I don't know.
But
anyway.
back and eat it.
And marching ant syndrome was something that hit a ton of people around the country back in that, because they didn't have it, the instruction in the book that you had to do this. And so, of course, people learning it from the book. So yeah, marching ant syndrome. And that taught me that right off the bat, that when you're teaching people things, you need to make sure you don't leave out some crucial little step that stops the entire job dead.
Oh my God. I can't imagine what it must have been there. Like now everything is digital and like, you don't know what to do. Oh, let me just Google this really quick. Or let me just go to the community. Somebody has asked it. Oh yeah, there we go. That's it. And
exactly.
I cannot imagine like landline as well. Who has
yeah. Thankfully now, you can. I will type into all the time. I'll say, I'll ask my question of Google and there will be several people that have tutorials or somebody on the forum has said something and I'm going, okay, there's the answer to my question. Something silly. All right.
Yes, Dave says, I've seen this a lot in tutorials. Yeah, I know.
Really?
There a lot of the questions that I've answered on the Premiere Pro forum have come from people who say, I'm watching this tutorial and I can't figure out how to do this because it's not working like it does in the tutorial. And I have to point out that you notice, so I'll go and watch the tutorial and say, okay, you notice that he did this and he doesn't talk about it, but I can see from where the mouse goes that he clicked on this other item over here and then he went and did this and he didn't tell you about it. You had to just kind of guess that he was clicking there because I see that the mouse went to the other option, but nothing happened. The mouse went over the other option and then he went on. Well, the stuff happened when the mouse went to that other option.
Yeah.
So
and honestly, the people doing those tutorials, it's so second nature. They're not even thinking about some of those basic.
But the people that wrote that book, well, of course they knew that you
had to do that.
And they forgot that, but the people reading the book have never seen it. That was the very first part of the book. They didn't have anything before it telling you anything about this. So it wasn't that, well, if you'd have read another page earlier, no, this was the first chapter of the book.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It had a bunch of them.
Well, it's been awesome. I think it is time for us to wrap it up. Sylvia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And we will see everybody tomorrow. Tomorrow, it's Thursday if you're in the United States at 2 p.m. if you're on the West Coast. If you're in Australia, I think it's going to be Friday morning for Andrew Hicks. Andrew Hicks will be learning all about what he does. He does a lot of different things. So this will be fun. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.